fucking making history at CECC. And there it is! Both platforms online, and Dip will take it home.
What a game.
Take a victory lap, take a bow, and take the headsets off and start to yell.
Forces a jump with it this time, and they both stand shielding in the gun smoke, but eventually they both back off again. Pops him up with a bomb and finally gets an up air right there.
He was so dangerous, and if it connected, it was likely to stock. So many things can kill Trajan now at 167. They cannot afford another strong hit here. Staying up high, and they go for the downer on the platform, and Kiwi is there.
But not like that. As soon as it gets that PK fire into the grab, a little bit of a scramble situation, knowing that the laser's gonna come out.
Gets nared away instead. Arrow doesn't land. Neither of them get to the stage. They get back aired instead. All the way across they go. Bomb in hand. They get side beat as well. And the falling hitbox will lead to the up smash. The dangerous opportunity here. 86% again. Rolls in. This time he gets caught. Sweet spot back air. And that will do it out. Gyro on the opposite side of the stage. Dash attack catches the landing. But they will not find the stock quite yet. Forward air will knock Kiwi away once more. They recover high. And they will get caught by the up air. From the right side of center stage. High recovery here from Kiwi. They'll land it onto the hydrant. But they won't be able to connect it. And that's another aerial. And this one will do the trick. A nair instead. Gamer Dog surviving. And we talked about it before. You mentioned touch of death character if they find the opening. Another absorb, back to zero. Gyro is out and in play. Can he get it in his hands though? He wanted it at the last moment, but won't be able to get the back throw off the mash out. Maybe let him get out instead. Damage being racked up. Linny recovering low here, and he cannot really challenge. Now grab back throw, and it's one stock apiece.
And we've seen now Tony.
Oh!
What?
It's Fizz Rain here on Tree that's defending it proper, and they might be able to make magic happen with 2K. Can they pull off a third? No. Braindead might be able to have a wonderful shot. Thrash doesn't see him. A Rolling Thunder is going to push everyone away from C main, but Braindead is in the perfect position.
Oh my god. Well, hello and welcome back once again to the ECAC Quarterfinals for Rocket League, live here on Esports U. Once again, I am Captain Etsoka, joined by none other than Chixa. Chixa, how are we feeling tonight? We got some great collegiate Rocket League coming our way.
Yeah, I love collegiate Rocket League. I'm so happy to be here again. I mean, we're prepping for like the CECC Grand Final National in like less than a month at this point. It's a month until we're there. So to be here, quarterfinals, all the teams, like they're the best that they can be at this point in the season. In fact, we're getting most students that are almost graduating soon. So we're going to be seeing roster changes out of the wazoo when it comes to this summer. But I'm happy to see both of these teams, two teams that have played phenomenally over the season in Wichita State Esports and FIU Varsity. In fact, they've played each other before, and it went to a 7-game banger series, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it again.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of bittersweet, isn't it? You know, we get to see these players kind of grow throughout the season, and then like you said, towards the end of the season, we see some of the veteran players, they graduate, they move on, and you know, that's good to see, but at the same time, it's kind of sad with the roster changes because you kind of, you know, you become a fan of these players, and it's going to be a shame to see them break up the roster. But regardless, here we are here tonight for the quarterfinals. We're going to have Wichita State Esports taking on FIU Varsity. Coming on the side of Wichita State Esports, we're going to have Boone, who is a Supersonic legend, Kappa, Grand Champion 2, and Views, as I'm just going to call that Views, is going to be Grand Champion 1. On the other side for FIU Varsity, we have Zernite, who is a Grand Champion 3, Social Legion, who is a Grand Champion 2, and No Gravity, who is a Supersonic legend. Now, Chixa, when these two teams stack up, I mean, you got a Grand Champ 2, a Grand Champ 3, and a Supersonic legend on FIU, and on the other side, you got a Grand Champ 1 and a Grand Champ 2 and an SSL. Do you think the ranks are here?
You know, it could be, again, starting rank during the season. And at this point in the season as well, like we mentioned, the chemistry is flowing. These teams have been playing against each other beforehand. They know what's at stake. They know how to play together as a team. So I don't think ranks matter all that much. I really think it's going to be who has the better team chemistry at the end of the day. And again, you don't know how much they've really improved individually as a player, because I've seen players do multiple ranks in a season. So much is at stake. And again, I mentioned these two teams played earlier in the season. FIU took that 4-3, and that was WSU's only loss of the entire season.
Well, Chicks, I can't help but agree. As a completely squeaky clean, washed player myself, you know what? Ranks don't matter. So just queue and play Rocket League with me. Ranks don't matter. You said it yourself. But regardless, we're underway now in our game number 1 of this best of 7 series. A minute of play nearly gone, and we're still 0-0, Chicksa.
Yep, very familiar faces on the field. Certainly, and they've been pretty much fairly matched to start this one. We haven't seen any crazy action. 2 shots for WSU is the only thing that we've seen a little bit, but a miss there. And midfield presence certainly taken up by FIU. Save on the last second by Cap. We'll see if he can get a clear out. Gets a flip reset, definitely doesn't follow it. He might have not even gotten that flip, but it seems very quiet and awfully slow for a high-level matchup between these two.
And tell you what, I don't know what it is about the player Cap, but for some reason, I vibe with that player. Great name, by the way. And speaking of, a great pitch from Cap goes all the way the other way to get the first goal on the board in the favor of WSU.
You know, I have to say, I really think you were just reading his mind. You're putting it into existence that Cap was going to score by talking about him, and he does play that pinch well. WSU on the board first. Again, their only loss to this team in particular. As for FIU, they lost to Weber State during the season in also 7 games, but another phenomenal team in Weber that has been in CECC for quite some time now and has done well from season to season. So certainly the best of the best when it keeps on going, but I am surprised at the speed. I feel like both of these teams are playing quite patient. They're both trying to set up plays just like that midfield passing play. but very slow. Not too much challenging, and both teams seem to have lots of space to work with. Great save by Views there.
And you see, this is what I like here in game number one, is that, you know, they're throwing the plays out and they're connecting. They're finding the pass plays. They're finding one another and they're putting shots on target. And that's great. They're not leading to many goals so far, but the more they do it, the more they pull these plays off, the more goals will eventually fall. So this is just the beginning, as we nearly found another goal on target, but that one hit the sidebar.
Midfield still controlled by FIU. Cap up to challenge. Does so well, but Boone will pick it up. Not much boost. That's actually midfield. That's dangerous. Social almost finding the connecting touch off the backboard. A missed opportunity for FIU to tie it up, and Cap, not much boost in the tank, will go his best to challenge. Social almost beats pass two. This one, Boone getting bumped, still able to get to it. Drop down, 50 here. Cap the save again. Cap past one, can't get past two. And that's pretty much most of the opportunities we're seeing. They can get past one player, but with 3 players on the field, it's quite difficult to get past the other 2.
Hey, Chixa, what do you call it if Cap gets demoed?
No cap?
No cap. That's right. And we're going to have completely cheesy puns throughout the rest of this broadcast. But once again, Cap goes up to get the 50-50, and it's Social John who's able to get the save to clear it away. Back into the corner it goes. No grab. Part of me wants to say no grave, but regardless, it's going to be Social John again in the mid. Gets a touch. Big demo to open things up towards the net, and not going to be able to come through with a shot. Boone leaves it up to Views, who can't get the double touch, and the defense holds strong so far from FIU, as they just can't seem to find the back of the net with less than a minute to go.
Yeah, Florida International struggling when it comes to getting out of their half, but that's a missed opportunity multiple times by Wichita State. They needed to execute on any of those plays. Boone playing patient, but again, a 50 can only go so far. I'm surprised at really the quietness of this game. I can't put it any other way than it's been quiet. That's a great shot on target, but again, an easy save by Cap. Nothing's been dangerous. Nothing's been scary. We haven't seen crazy mechanics. That's just a beat in midfield. Great job by Boone to extend that lead further, but kind of a maybe like simple showing from both of these teams.
Oh, what? That was 100% a great read from Boone. Good heads-up play, but I'm wondering if Cap was able to get the comms out. I wonder if Cap was, you know, relaying that, hey, I'm going to pitch this one out to mid, and gave their teammate the heads up in order for them to get an early read on the ball. Again, it's possible. I'm not saying it's what happened, but again, Cap just had a near-perfect pinch to set that play up, and now at the final few seconds, a 2-goal lead. I think that's about all she wrote, Chixa, as that should do it. WSU take game 1.
I would say in fairly convincing fashion as well. The pinch shot for them to get the goal, the other beat in midfield later on, they did win out on that shot count 10-7. So, or actually, I lied. It was the opposite. FIU got more shots. It is 7-10 in that regard, but it was better opportunities on the side of Wichita State. They were able to execute time and time again, and as for FIU, most of their shots are saved away or just weren't that deadly.
Oh, 100%. And then, you know, this felt like a very defensive game. Clearly, it was low scoring, and there are a lot of saves on the board. It's 6-4. So, yes, FIU managed to get more shots on target, but WSU managed to get 2 more saves than FIU. Those 2 saves, no coincidence, ends up being a 2-goal deficit. WSU got the 2 extra saves, and they managed to get the 2 extra goals. So GG's to WSU as they take game number 1, giving themselves an early lead in the series. But again, that's only game number 1. We are getting ready now to head into game 2 to see if FIU can finally get some goals on the board.
I think they could do it. If anything, I'd want revenge back. They've beat this team before, and to not score a single goal against them in game number 1, certainly not the showing they were looking for, but I would say on the side of Wichita State, they certainly got their revenge in game number 1. They want to beat this team. They want to get farther. It was their only hurdle throughout the season, so you have to wonder what's going through both teams' minds right now. Certainly, the start of this one, it's some pressure coming from the side of FIU. A great clear from Cap who has kind of been the player to look out for, even rocking that tag that we've seen a little bit all game long. So a lot of expectations in this one. That's a great clear up field, but who other than Cap to at least be on the back end and make those crucial saves that we saw last game?
No, absolutely. I don't blame them for rocking the tag. When you get like a tag that you work for, you're never going to take it off. For example, you know, I never go anywhere without my CRL analyst tag. That one, I don't care what anybody says. That is going to be the last tag I'll ever need in Rocket League. I'm never taking it off. I don't care. Regardless, getting right back into the action. A minute of play gone, and we are scoreless yet again. Very reminiscent of game number 1, Chicksa.
Yep. It's quiet. It's slow. I don't know if maybe I'm feeling like the gameplay's slower after watching RLCS, you know, kind of all weekend long. But I swear collegiate play tends to just be a little bit more hectic at times, a little bit more bump heavy, demo heavy, mechanical heavy. But I haven't seen any of that. I'm waiting for that X Factor player. Be dynamic, take chances. Let's see those passing plays. But for right now, we've seen just a lot of very typical 50s. I guess that's a demo in the air, but a clear towards the other end and now into the corner safely will pretty much cut off that play, at least for now. In fact, Zernite 50, this one finished by Social Dawn, and just like that, I lied. FIU scores first.
Yeah, that they do, and it took all 3 players to get involved here. Again, you had the initial touch, and then it was Zernite to come through with the 50-50. We talked about those difficult 50-50s, as now that one is going to lead No Grab up to get the first goal on the board. I'm sorry, Social John to get the first goal on the board here for FIU as they take an early lead. Let's see if they can keep it.
They might be able to do that if they're able to get out of their half. Zernite struggling. Low boost, Social John, the beat in midfield. Straight on down, No Grab, gets the 50. Cap, get on that back end, only his first touch. This one should be in midfield, but John pretty far back. Isn't able to follow up. Boone to midfield, Cap puts one off target. A little bit more pressure coming from Wichita State. That one's on target. It's a difficult save, but yet no clear comes out yet for Florida International. Seems so slow onto this ball as the 50s still come in front of net. Zernite up. In fact, kind of fakes out his teammate, puts a shot on target, but an easy save by Boone will relieve that pressure temporarily. FIU, though, looking like a much better team in this game, too.
You know what? I think we need to take it easy on these players because, Chicksa, I'm really thinking the bar has been set really high after watching RLCS so long, you know, and I agree. I was right there with you. You know, we're dialed in. We're laser focused after watching RLCS, so it does seem like it's a little bit slower, but at the same time, you know, they're trying and they are throwing some difficult passes, but I agree. We need to see some more demolitions as well, but there is the pass play finally hits for the side of FIU, and that is the second assist coming from Zernite.
Yeah, he's been certainly an initiator for this Florida International team. They needed someone to set up plays, and he has done just that, playing the role that FIU needed in last game. And now we see a similar scoreline as well to game number 1, but instead it's on the side of FIU. Boone, an unfortunate miss there. A lot of question marks for both these teams, but yeah, you said take it easy on these players, but I'm a kind of hard love kind of caster. I want to push each player's boundaries because you saw the levels. We have GC1, GC2, GC3, SSL in this lobby. I want them to show what they're really capable of, and I always think each team, you know, they kind of need, yes, they need the insurance that they're good, they're confident, but also let's push them to show themselves that much more each and every game.
All right, I'm with it. Let's get ruthless. Okay, and now you can see No Grab going for the flippery doodah flip reset. They're not able to hit it. And I got to tell you, one thing from WSU that I wish I saw more of is the demolitions, because I've seen FIU just kind of park the bus in front of their net, and they're clearing out touches before they can even get a shot on. Right now, WSU only have 3 shots on target. Meanwhile, FIU are converting nearly every clear into yet another goal, 3-0 in the favor of FIU.
Boons and View both in the same spot on rotation, on top of one another. Third man rotation, non-existent for WSU in this match. It's something they needed. Yes, be risky at this point in the game, but also don't forget to retain your rotations. Again, third man too late on the rotation back, and because of it, FIU take full advantage.
Yeah, that they do. And right now, if I'm WSU, the first thing I'm trying to do is, of course, get on the board. You got 29 seconds left to go, still plenty of time, and it does matter. You don't want to go into the next game with a shutout. Granted, game number 1 ended in a shutout. It ended 2-0. Right now, it's currently 4-0. But for WSU, if they want to try and, you rein this series back in, they're really going to have to get their offense vibing, and the best way to do that is to set themselves up for a good game next. So they have got to get on the board if they want to try and salvage anything here in game number 2. Is, you know what, we take those. We will most certainly take that. No bad blood there. That one just happened to go in.
That's Cap's second time that he scored a goal off his enemy opponent. The pinch earlier, now this one off the car of FIU. That's 2 orange goals on an orange net, but all good, because you know what? They built themselves a 3-goal lead. Make that 4 back again. Zerdite takes back after that mistake we just saw. And I think this is a really dominant win for FIU in particular. Get shut out in game 1, but this one shuts up the likes of WSU in game 2.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even you got to give them credit. Even in game 1, they got shut out 2-0, but at the same time, they still had the higher shot count, no matter which way you cut it. And once again, they get the higher shot count by a much wider margin. You were looking at a total of 11 shots to 3 coming from WSU. And the problem with that is that, again, WSU are, they're getting the save count, which means they're spending too much time in their net. The main difference being is that FIU, they didn't even allow the shot to come on target. Before the ball even went in front of the net to be counted as a shot, it was getting cleared away. Whereas WSU, they constantly allowed the ball to just go on target, go into the net. They weren't jumping to try and intercept passes. They weren't, competing. They weren't throwing up anything. At least that's what it seemed like, and I think it reflects in the stats.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I really do think that FIU is just challenging at the source much better, and those rotations have been stronger in the midfield so they can constantly keep attacking and applying that aggressive pressure time and time again. They're hungry for that ball. They keep the passing plays going off the backboard. That was 2 very important plays earlier in the game that happened that gave them the lead initially. They built themselves a lot of momentum. We'll see if they could hold it now in game number 3.
Yeah, WSU definitely need to contest more shots. It's what a friend of mine, Kendo Slice, like to call hands up Rocket League. Now, granted, you don't have hands, but it's a reference to basketball where, you play hands up defense, meaning doesn't matter if you get beat to the ball or not, you still got to contest the shot to try and disrupt whatever type of flow your opponent is bringing to that shot. So again, you really got to get into the face of your opposition. Let's see if they can step things up here in game 3, as now it is all tied in the series, 1-1.
Great pressure coming initially from Wichita State, but Zerdite able to get out to midfield. There comes the challenge that's needed. Views are racing towards it, but no grab, able to get there first. This one now back end. Good contest. Cap with some time. A demo now. Can he find the shot? It's 50. It's still hanging in front of net, but no follow-up from his team. Now, in fact, they're bumping in front of one another. This one stalled. That could have been so much more incoming pressure from WSU, but now they need to defend on their half, and you could tell that car is seeking for them. Moondal in a one-on-one, and Social John challenges just in the nick of time and actually almost fakes a shot on target.
I'm wondering if, since there is a Social John, maybe there's an anti-Social John somewhere out there. But, we'll have to wait and see, as another ball does go right into the middle in front of the net of FIU as they're able to clear this one out. And now, coming through with the counterattack, they're going to go up mid. Zerdite still just applying the pressure. Big jump from No Grab as they once again try to continue to put shots on target. Big demo. Not going to be enough, though, as that shot goes high.
This one still in the air. No grab, picking it up. Flip reset, puts it towards midfield, but Boone able to save. Gets 15 though. Backboard still there. Views able to get past the left and even gets a pinch on the side wall. some pressure. WSU needs it. This one. Great touch from No Grab. He gets past 2, and that relieves all that pressure that WSU just started to create. It's been an ongoing struggle for WSU in this game in particular to maintain offensive pressure, as well as last game. They had a lot of shots in game 1, but since then they've been searching for that secret sauce, and now this game 3.
And speaking of the secret sauce, there was nearly a goal on the net there off of a pretty saucy shot, but it gets deflected away. Now, Chicks, so watch this. You ready? Here it is. It's going to be either a captain's curse or captain's blessing. As, you know, this is the longest we have gone without a goal. And I'm nearly certain as soon as I finish this statement, a goal will probably be scored. But we're nearly 3 minutes into this match, and we are still 0-0. For the other games that we have played in this series, they scored a goal within the first minute, maybe a minute and 30 tops.
Yeah, it's been, again, it feels slow. Maybe that's just that weird RLCS perception of things. Now a demo. This one open. Boone able to finish, and we needed an X Factor play, and you indeed did call.
I knew it was going to happen. Whether it is a caster's curse or a caster's blessing, I'll leave it to the chat. But I knew as soon as I said that, somebody was going to score. It had to be. It had to happen. There's no shot that these two teams are going to go that long without scoring a goal. And it just happened to be WSU to get on the board first. Still plenty of time for FIU to strike back.
Use the sidewall. Cap almost finding that angle to go up. A bump as well, but Boone late to it. Turnite up to Social John. It's 15 in midfield. No Crab there first. Cap up. Sends it towards the sidewall. Lands, recovers, puts it in midfield. Social John the save. A double demo. Can Boone get past them all? Maybe a bump as well, but No Grab stands tall in net. WSU holding on to that 1-goal lead, as well as just burning clock time. This is the most offensive pressure we've seen from them in a while, and I think it's working. They're still able to keep defending from that midfield line.
You know, I got to give credit to WSU. They have definitely increased their shot count. They have become more of a threat, and now they're not hesitating as much. They're getting into the face of FIU and going for these 50s, going for these touches, and now I think they are a little less cautious when it comes to taking shots. I think, you know, before they were afraid they was going to get swatted away, they would get saved, this, that, and third, but it doesn't matter. You have got to get shots on target, and now WSU have stepped up their game in a major way. They went from having 3 shots in the previous game. So far here in this game, they have a total of 8 on the board.
Boone, low boost, keeping this ball in front of the field. Views there, gets the flip reset, still has boost, can't follow up. Ceiling here, No Grab on it. Quick shot, is that over the last defender? It is. No Grab ties it up for Florida International with 26 seconds left on the clock.
That was sick. I'm not gonna lie. That was a beautiful flick. My goodness. In the control too, because then you get the mind game thinking, oh, well, what if they got the flip reset? Doesn't matter. They touch ground first and they're able to just barely get the flick up and over the defender. That one had some finesse on it. I'm not gonna lie. You know, you were talking about that sauce. Well, that shot was looking a little drippy.
You know, you just need the secret sauce every game. If it's somebody else or if it's a particular play. Social John, what a goated save there. And Zernite a clear out. One last opportunity. Cap demoed for those efforts. It'll touch the ground. And just like that, overtime in game number 3.
You know what I'm all here for? This is the first time we have seen OT, but I feel like we should have seen it before with how close some of these games have been. Speaking of close, it doesn't get much closer than that. Cap with an insane recovery to get one save, but they can't get the other in 16 seconds. It will be FIU to get the dub in OT and to put themselves up 1 win in the series.
I was not expecting that. I wasn't ready for it. It was 16 seconds. That's the most dynamic and crazy Rocket League we have seen, and it had to come in a game 3 overtime. So quick to it, but they finish at FIU now in the lead this series 2-1. They only dropped game number 1, and since then they have been on a roll. They make up the shots that they were down earlier in the game, and now all of a sudden, tied shot count game. The only difference, more FIU saves.
I mean, that really is the only difference, and it's a slight difference. I mean, when it's very rare that you see an even shot count. You know, both teams managed to get 9 shots on target, and we were talking that WSU specifically needed to get on par with FIU. They did, and then FIU still managed to pull out the win because, again, like you had mentioned, the only difference was the saves. And notice that FIU in the previous game, they didn't get a lot of saves. They didn't really have to. But when push came to shove and they started to need to play defense, the defense came. I mean, again, I think Social John here might be the unsung hero. Don't get me wrong. Like, no grab, 100% well-deserved MVP. They came in clutch. They got both goals on the board. But Social John participated in at least one of those goals by getting the assist and then nearly got 2 savior medals. So again, I think Social John, once again, somewhat of an unsung hero there.
Yeah, I would say very, very social in the net when it comes to the goal line. Great job all around by that Florida International squad. They're looking to essentially repeat what they done to WSU last time, and certainly off to a good start after that Game 1 loss. Now, it comes down to momentum. Can WSU tie up the series scoreline, or is FIU on that much of a roll that they're going to be able to win out yet another game? Certainly, Cap bringing the pressure. The stalled ball by No Grab gets credited with that save, is backwards right now and is still able to get to it. Really great work by FIU to remain cool under pressure.
Yeah, good mechanics there just to get the ball out of danger. Again, you know, you're going backwards, so you have to do the half flip just to make sure you can clear the ball out with 0 boost. They were only able to get pads on from the pennies, only getting 12 boost apiece, but still they made the most of it. So again, great mechanics coming through as we are scoreless after a minute of play, and here comes the offense from FIU, barely saved away.
Boone taking his time, looking to go underneath. No Grab, a great challenge, but Views able to follow up on that initial touch. Cap, corner. Social John over to Zernite. Views up there. Social John looking to take it to the other end. More pressure keeps coming. Boone, the shot. Open net because of the demo, and WSU strikes first.
That they do, but friendly reminder, they were also the ones to strike first in game number 3. FIU, still plenty of time for them to answer back, as it will be WSU taking an early lead here. And let's see if they can hold it. If they manage, then, you know, they're going to be able to tie up the series. And things are going to get that much more interesting here in this best of 7.
Cap, quick to it. No Grab the turn. Use side wall. Social John in front. This one dropping dangerously. Social John able to get back to it. Midfield presence high. Double commit on the side of Florida International, but No Grab still able to get to it. Social John back up. Again, this ball had been in the midfield for quite some time. Finally, Cap's able to get it out. But for how long? Can he keep it there? Views the pass in mid, and Social John the save. WSU bringing the pressure early on.
I like it, and again, that's why it's important to get those shots on target, because it doesn't matter if they go in or not. It's about just keeping the possession. It's about keeping the defense moving on the side of FIU, forcing them out of position, forcing them to make mistakes as the follow-up shot goes off the backboard, and it goes on target again, but they simply cannot get this one to go. FIU putting on a defensive masterclass in front of the net.
6 saves, and I'm pretty sure 4 of those, or 5 of them, were literally in the last 30 seconds. Huge wall being built up by Florida International. Can they hold on longer is the question. Cap stealing that boost there is going to be overwhelming. If FIU can't find a clear out, that's exactly what No Grab's doing. Pass to Zernite. This one's still just off and a little high. Cap there towards the other end. Still pressure coming from FIU. Can they find a shot to save themselves? But no, instead, that was all the pressure they could find, and it was pretty temporary. Granted, I say Zernite now has an open look, sends the pass midfield, and Cap sends one across the field, one end to the other. What a way for WSU to score.
Yep, just a little overzealous there. They saw the light at the end of the tunnel, but they did not see Cap in the back of the net, ready to get that touch and send it right back up Main Street to find an open net on the other side of the pitch. Now 2-0 in the favor of WSU with just a minute and 40 left to go. Still plenty of time. Still plenty of time for FIU to try and equalize.
Zernite up to midfield, no touch by his teammate, and that's a missed opportunity. Cap on it quick. Zernite the save, and this one helped on out. Great transition, double tap potential, but taken away. Zernite now backboard, Cap the read. This one's still dropping down, slotted in just underneath the crossbar, and FIU find an answer.
You put shots on target, eventually one will fall, and that was actually a great double touch just to start things off from Zernite, because not only did they get the initial jump to contest that 50-50 on the shot, but then they pulled Cap out of net as well and pulled them out of position. So just by taking that one double touch, you managed to pull two defenders. That is a great job by Zernite to get that pass to go, and also a great follow-up from No Grav to get that goal and now cut the lead of WSU in half.
Social John sending it over. Zernite pop up, Cap take it in midfield. Not much boost left and can only find the 50. Boone back ball. Social John still there as well. Couple of opportunities in particular for WSU upfield. Granted, getting a little bunched up. Still with boost advantage. Boone looking, sending it over to Cap. Can Cap find the turn? Zernite jumps in front, no double tap. Social John gets it over, but who other than Cap to be back and send it off towards the corner?
And it's coming down to the wire now. 20 seconds left to go to try and get one goal if you're FIU. Meanwhile, WSU just have to hold on for a little longer. Great pass and an even better read defensively in order to clear that one out, as now only 10 seconds to go. This one is heading back towards the WSU net, out into the corner. A little boost goes a long way, as now that one does get cleared out all the way back. Time is now expired. Rule 0 in effect. Trying to get a last-ditch effort here. This one goes off the ceiling. Cap able to bat it away, and somehow the ball's still alive. They get the pass. Views gets the save, and I think that one should just about do it. There you go. The ball finally hits the ground, and WSU tie up the series.
2-2-2. Literally. That's what it is right now. And a 2-1 win for WSU. It really came down to the shot pressure. FIU, masterclass in defense, but defense doesn't always win games. It helps you, but if you cannot score upfield yourselves, then what can you do when you're already down? 10 shots early on for WSU. I really think a majority of those came in that first minute when it came to that defensive round, but I like the changes we're seeing out of Wichita State. They were able to increase that pressure, give each other time to play with the ball, kind of get passing plays going, more 50s going, and really it was a boost game from there, because FIU on their half just didn't have enough boost at times to be able to find those challenges.
Yeah, talk about a complete turnaround coming from Wichita. I mean, it just seemed like they really couldn't get their offense going. They're playing a lot of defense, but I got to tell you, in that game, my goodness, they turned the entire series on its head. I mean, they come through, not only do they equalize, but they put so much pressure onto FIU, and they forced them to get those many saves. It was stranglehold offense. There were so many times where they couldn't even allow FIU to get out of their own half. And again, FIU just could not get enough offense going in order to equalize in time. WSU played nearly perfect positioning at the midfield, and I'm really curious to see if they can continue that type of a stranglehold offense.
I have to agree. Neither team has been all that consistent when it comes to game-to-game effort, but I mean, that's why we're in collegiate play. It's sometimes the best play, but also sometimes the worst. If you're, struggling a little bit, being consistent, isn't that everybody? So at this point, we'll see what happens in a very pivotal game number 5. It'll be the first person to get to match point in the series, which is a big deal with how back and forth we've been.
Oh yeah, this is a true testament just to show how evenly matched these two teams are. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who loses. I think we have more than enough evidence to say that both of these teams are fairly evenly matched. So as we continue on, let's see who's going to break the tie in the series and take the lead. As now you can see Views going to put this one down to Social John at the mid. Is able to touch it out, gets a 50 up high, but it looks like Views is just going to take control here. And once again, it's a real tug of war going on at the midfield.
Boone there first. A little bit of a touch, but it's on the sidewall twice. 50 will keep this ball in midfield. Still nothing much farther than that. It's been constant off the wall. Zernite backboard. Does he get a double tap read? Yes, he does, but Cap kind of a half squishy save in order to dodge that bump demo that was coming. Zernite over to No Grab, who's waiting patiently on the sidewall. Will maintain most of his boost, gets a 50. Can he win two? He indeed does get the second one, but the beat comes on through. Boone now to the skies, gets the flip reset, but the challenge by Zernite fast just as much as his challenge on the next defender. Social John taking time, this one on top of his car, but can't put the shot on target, and back in midfield we go for another exchange.
You know, it's very interesting because we often see a lot of clips and highlights of shots taken, but Cap on that last play might have gotten one of the sickest saves I've ever seen. And if there was ever a save that deserved to be on the highlight reel, I think it was that one.
It was great. He beat essentially two people, the one chasing after him and the other one putting on the shot. You always love to see it, but Cap certainly has been the player to look out for at times for WSU. He's just been where needed. And also has been really influential when it comes to upfield times that WSU has gotten opportunities. But the couple of demos here, it's been a stalled game. A miss though on this double. Cap there, he needs that touch and he misses it just as I praise him. Makes a mistake, and Zernite with FIU managed to find a goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult. You can only pull off so many miracle saves. You know, eventually you're going to run out of gas as that one is able to find the mark. And again, just great shot placement, by the way, coming from Zernite. Able to find the upper 90 on the other side of the net where no defender could possibly reach it. So again, that's just good fashion shot placement coming from Zernite. And now FIU get to enjoy a 1-goal lead right at the 2-minute mark here. WSU looking to answer back.
Cap off the corner. Gets the demo from the teammate. Boone, shot on, but Zernite's there. Respawned in time as well for the rest of rotation on the team. This one on the ceiling, Views there first. Still has some boost to work with. Quick midfield touch. In fact, it's on target. The Cap can only find a 50. Still plenty of time left on the clock, but it seems like WSU is rushing to get the tying goal that they desperately need at this point. Views still gets challenged. Cap down and gets 50'd again. Great job by FIU to put that defense farther up the field.
And WSU again showing a good, impressive amount of control, and of course, mechanical prowess. Their ability to just try and slow the pace of play down a little in order to try and take more high calculated shots. It's truly impressive, and eventually I think it will work. But also got to give FIU the credit that they deserve for just being able to hold strong on not just on the offensive side of the ball, but also on the defensive side. As finally the defense does fold from FIU, and none other than Cap is there to send this one home, tying the game back up at 1.
Backboard defense is one of the most important parts in particular of this level of play. Once you start to reach really GC1 and above, you need to be able to defend that backboard. And Social John was too slow to get there, so instead trying to make the read off that, too difficult. But you know what? There's a way to make up for it. The pass comes from No Grab in the skies, off the ceiling, straight down to him, and Views doesn't get the read, so the shot well placed.
You know, you love to see it because, again, you expect them to attack the backboard, right? You know, you expect them to just, you know, hit lasers off the backboard, try and get a pass, maybe even a double touch, who knows? So, again, being able to send an absolute banger off the ceiling is a great way to throw off the defender. So, again, great plays, great reads coming from FIU as, once again, they take their lead back. But with 35 seconds left to go, still plenty of time for Cap and company to tie us back up at 2 goals apiece.
again, double commit on the side of FIU. No grab and Social John on top of one another. I think they might have actually had a team bump during that play. So Cap taking advantage of mistakes, really trying to put all the weight on his shoulders this game, has made both very vital goals for WSU to get them back in it. Now FIU searching for their lead back again. It's been back and forth, really exciting in the last minute or two of this game. I'm waiting. What creativity are we going to see for this next play? Because these teams have certainly been taking all the tricks out of the book.
Oh, absolutely. We've already seen one overtime in the series. We might see another as the final few seconds tick away here in regulation. And a nice last-second shot, not quite on the mark, as now we will once again go into overtime here in Game 5. Oh, yeah, Game 5 already. It doesn't seem like we've been here for that long. As the clock will begin to tick upward, and we'll see who can take the lead. And it will be WSU to come through in OT to take the win and take the lead.
What did I say about backboard defense? Cap dominating that backboard, able to give that pass down, makes the play happen. Views with the finisher. WSU now on top in this series. They have brought back from what felt like no return and came through at the end when it mattered the most.
Oh, absolutely. And then look at this. They only recorded one save throughout that entire game. That is really surprising. But at the same time, when you look at the shot count, I guess maybe not, because you're looking and you can see WSU have doubled the shot count of FIU. So they were definitely keeping FIU once again busy in their own half, getting saves. And it's clear from the shot count that WSU once again got to control the majority of the possession. And at the end of the day, I mean, it did come down to OT, but it was that little extra oomph in the offense from WSU that I think was the end all be all there, as now WSU have taken the lead in the series and have put themselves onto series point.
Yes. They, again, the only loss this season to FIU. They're ready for it. I don't know. They've looked the best they have, and they've scored in such quick fashion. I loved the answers they had each and every time that FIU scored. They were able to bounce back. I think that'll be a very important factor when it comes down to this game in particular. In Game 6, already starting off with a riot. What was that defense? What were those touches in front of net? But it's calmed down. We get a clear towards the other end and a reset for both teams.
Yeah, nothing too risky so far, just some good standard fundamental Rocket League. You love to see that. Now a Phillip Flip reset goes out, but it's not going to be any good. Views able to clear it away. Social John now not able to get the read here, but a beautiful redirect from Views. My goodness, put it on the highlight reel from pitch to pitch, goal to goal, post to post. That is going to be a big first opening goal for WSU.
That was crazy. To read such a difficult pass coming from that left side, put a shot on towards the right. Really quite outstanding. And again, the arrow throughout it to find the perfect angle. You can't get any better technically than that shot. WSU have the momentum from their last game win, and they're looking to close this one out in 6. Back towards the other end off that 50, Social John. Only up to where Cap is waiting off the ceiling. Gets a touch, but not much of one. Boone on the contest. This one by Zernite. One-on-one with Views, and Views backflip, but Cap comes through. Goal line save. Clear desperately needed for WSU. Cap there, saves it twice. The double save in a matter of seconds. Boone now to get one. And after time and time again, FIU being denied on the goal line just as they did earlier to WSU.
Oh, and what a dinger off the crossbar. You know, the crossbar can be your best friend or your worst enemy, but I wish I had this crossbar on my team. Look at the read right off the lip, and it goes on and in. What a shot by Boone.
I wasn't ready for it. I was ready to pass it on to you, and you know what? WSU said, no way, we are going to score, we are going to make an answer, and they did just that. 3 minutes left in this one, and FIU needs to get something going, and something going fast. They haven't seen really much pressure at all because it's been all WSU. Cap there, views, no touch, fakes it out here, and Cap's still on this ball. He needs to get bumped off. No grab. Maybe an opportunity, back wall, bounce, no read, Social John backboard, Zernite the finish, but Boone in the way for the 50 and a clear to boot.
And you know what, you alluded to it earlier with the momentum that WSU managed to garner in the previous game, and I think you're right. I think it's carrying over here because, again, you know, we're seeing WSU really play in their zone, and I think they are building that momentum, and I'm wondering if it's too far gone now, as we have already passed halftime here in game number 6. I wonder if the momentum that has been built for WSU might be insurmountable for FIU here in the later half of this game.
There's just so much to think about and not much time for FIU, who I thought was doing pretty well, especially at the beginning of this series, but seems like they're playing catch-up at this point, and catch-up isn't going to do it when you're down by 2. No grab, offside wall, slow to it. Cap gets there and has to make the entire offense reset for FIU. Social John backboard, contest comes late, but the shot redirected away. Another one, back wall, Cap to midfield, Social John there, no grab, bumped, and Boone on the backboard, able to at least 50 it out into midfield. Lots of pressure coming from FIU, but it doesn't seem like anything's been real dangerous.
No, nothing yet, but right now FIU, they're running out of time. Just a minute and 15 left to go, and they are so scoreless here. A 2-goal cushion still in the favor of WSU, and we've already seen how good WSU are at running the clock and how good they are at managing possession and slowing down the pace of play. That's something FIU cannot afford right now. They have got to speed things up.
Time certainly not on their side. Under a minute left in this one, and a 2-goal cushion is a huge deal. Boone looking to get it out, just fakes it. Social John trying to find the angle. That's a good pass, but no! The shot first missed, but the follow-up there. Zernite puts it on in the back of the net. FIU now 1 goal between a potential overtime.
All I gotta say is thank goodness for proper positioning. Again, that's how you have to dissect the Rocket League pitch. You got one player on the right, one player in the mid, one player on the left. Gotta dissect the map into thirds, and thankfully Zernite was right where they needed to be in order to play cleanup and make sure that ball went in, and none too soon either. Only 30 seconds left to go. FIU still down 1.
1 goal. Seems like a lot at this point when you only have 20 seconds. Social John from the back end. Will send it past a couple. No grab. The demo. That net's open, but Cap gets back just in time. 50. This one still. Zernite trying to pepper Cap in net. Social John the turn. Can he get the 50? This one pokes a little bit fun out. Zernite calls for it. Boone the save on the goal line. Social John backboard. Views there to stall. No grab. Up on it, off the ceiling. Zernite shot saved by Cap, and WSU wins in game number 6.
And once again, the defense was so good from WSU. It's really crazy because, you know, throughout the entire process, you know, we're talking about, oh, you're playing too much. If you play too much defense, it could be detrimental, and it definitely can be. However, I gotta say, in that last game, it was the defense that won the day, especially after FIU. They came in, they managed to score that, not even a last minute goal. It was in the last 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden, at WSU starting to get a little nervous, but they started to halt the offensive pressure, started to rein things back in on defense, and then they took control and they ran the very last few seconds off the clock. So again, great heads-up awareness from WSU to change their pace of play in order to try and drain out that clock, and it worked. So again, big GGs to both sides. This was a great series, Chicksa.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Florida International, I mean, their season ends here, but Wichita State's season doesn't end, of course. They'll play the winner of Bruton Parker College and Fisher College for their semifinals. That's a very interesting matchup, to say the least. Bruton Parker as well as Fisher going to be, whichever one they play against, a very difficult series. But again, of course, congratulations to Wichita State University today. They were able to pull out the win. They came down from behind at times, and they really showed themselves on the field. And of course, thank you for being a wonderful casting partner today. I had a good time. It's nice to be here. Can you believe quarterfinals? We're at the end of the spring semester of collegiate play.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you're one of my favorite colleagues to work with. I absolutely love having you on the desk, and it's been great. And like you said, it's somewhat bittersweet because now it is getting towards the end of the season, but it's also really sweet in the sense that we're not done here today. Well, I mean, you and I are, but there's still more Rocket League to be had. Coming up next is going to be the ECAC Overwatch quarterfinals between Fisher College and Florida Atlantic University, and that will be brought to you by Tiny Shiny and Chef Billy, two amazing casters, commentators, personalities, whatever you want to call them. They are the best. And with that being said, that is going to do it here for Chicksa and myself. It has been a pleasure once again bringing you the Rocket League quarterfinals right here at the ECAC. So don't go anywhere. There will be more esports action coming your way right after this.
And our collegiate esports action continues here this evening with our Overwatch in ECAC. I'm Tiny Shiny, joined by Chef Billy, as the quarterfinals are about to start. Now, Chef Billy, we have seen a ton of action from our teams in the Masters Plus division for Overwatch throughout the season on the broadcast. But Fisher Fanes, in particular, one of our teams coming in as a top seed, taking on Florida Atlantic. This is one of those matches that it's difficult to tell who can come out on top.
I mean, especially with the recent patch changes. I mean, everything has happened since then. I think the last time that these two teams met, it was a 3-2 map 5 thriller. So we might get the same thing going on here today. I'm kind of leaning to Fisher Fiends winning 3-1 here, just based upon the fact that they've got two really, really good teams above them that they get to scrim against a lot. It gets the meta discussions, gets the strategy planning with the rest of the Fisher Esports Overwatch team. So I think that they have that advantage there. They are 6-0 on the season, while Florida Atlantic comes in here 4-2. So, I mean, you've got the 1 and 3 seeds here coming out of this specific division. This could be setting up a Fisher v. Fisher semifinal.
Yes.
That could be civil war up there in Blueston. We'll see how that goes down. Just to give a little look at the other side, Illinois Wesleyan, Cora's team, a lovely photographer for the collegiate scene, especially in Overwatch. Their team is the number 1 seed and is looking to stomp through and maybe put a showdown against one of these Fisher squads.
Fisher, if you've heard their name one place or another within the esports space, it's because they are able to build these incredible rosters in several different games. Overwatch, and specifically, I think they have like 4 or 5 functioning rosters throughout the season. 4, yeah. So Fisher fans are coming into this not necessarily the top of the top roster that you're going to have, but having the access to the coaches, the same level of experience, the practice. All of these are major assets when it comes down to collegiate competition. And I kind of agree with you. Fisher Fanes, they're coming to this, yes, higher seed, but also that greater competitive experience, more of those resources at their disposal. And of course, beating Florida Atlantic in Game 5 previously. Now, this does have the potential to go Game 5. We have minimal information about what each of these teams have been scrimming, as the current meta, Billy, has been it's been a little silly. We got some battle cattle coming in for the most part, but there have been a couple of teams that have made adaptations to fit their own playstyles.
I mean, you're looking at, Malga still is viable, even though the nerfs came through massively. But I mean, Ramatra still exists. My dear beloved. Just to remind everybody, things are number 18, I believe, on the right now. We're actually holding off on those rankings, by the way, until after this upcoming homecoming Overwatch Collegiate weekend. So rankings will come out, I believe, Wednesday of next week. So a week from today, we're going to be making our votes then. Fisher Fiends, though, they want to get themselves a little bit higher. So, like I said, better competitive experience, but don't count Florida Atlantic out.
Absolutely not. I mean, even Florida Atlantic are experimenting more with the Ramatra side of things. That's where Gap is going to be starting out. Typically, you would favor an Orisa into this matchup, and it's going to be even more difficult to hold with Chris going down early on in this more pokey part of the battle. So Fisher Fanes are immediately at an advantage, and they're able to push in relatively smoothly. Know that Florida Atlantic doesn't have an escape route.
Yeah, I mean, this is good focus fire coming down. I mean, that's a big pick, though, from Datorian, taking Getsus down. So now it's all about the payback coming from Cheetah or Odos. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. I like the Orisa into the Ramatra matchup. I still think that Gap can probably get some good value here as long as the sustain is there. And saving Nemesis form for when you really need it. Don't pop it too early.
All game of cooldowns when it comes to this this tank rock paper scissors things that we've got going on right now, and Ramatra, historically you need to have a little bit more control over how you're pushing in. Orisa is a CC demon. got a javelin spin. That pushes you backwards. You got a javelin in general. Pushes you backwards and a pulse bomb. Waiting for you in the back. The Suzu, as you said, wonderful to cover. Florida Atlantic, though, they weren't really able to get further up. And losing thread here with how low the rest of their players are, surely this Kitsune Rush just cleans up the rest.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're seeing Zendrillin really being able to just push into the top middle back of that. Oh my word, that's the power of the Orisa. And Leg Day said it perfectly. It's a snooze fest when two Orisas are going against each other, but when they're good on the field in the Kitsune Rush, everything seems to speed up a little bit more, and you get a lot more of the value. And Tyra Surge will be online here, as well as this overclock, so they might be able to pull him in and maybe get a little bit of a wombo combo going.
And they only need realistically one more fight to go on out. Teletron's Pulse Bomb going wide. Rough start for Florida Atlantic, hoping the Fox of their own can lead them towards this objective, get them onto point. Or what's waiting for them? Really in that Terra Surge pulling in 4 players total. The Suzu not able to assist the damage coming on in. The late sound barrier in the fight, barely even needed. Chris Kent hasn't even had the opportunity to replicate it himself. End up going down into the dirt. The Annihilation zoning players off a little bit further. Despite Fisher Fane's ultimate advantage here, they haven't been able to clear Florida Atlantic off the point. They're dumping every resources in. Even Ruka's Kitsune Rush coming through. All right, Fisher think that this is still winnable, but at the end of the day, it's all a big win for Florida.
I mean, that's a great fight win there. I mean, the fact they can pull the rush out, I mean, this is going to be a lot of ability sustain here for Florida Atlantic. They're coming up into the ultimates of their own. Another Pulse Bomb just about online for them. So we'll see now how this is going to come through. But I think that for Fisher Fiends right now, they've got to get something with this Pulse Bomb. We've seen beautiful usage of the Suzu coming out from Thread, saving 3 in the last Pulse Bomb deployments.
Red has been doing really well on this Kiriko as we say that. They're currently dead. That is an issue. Florida Atlantic, especially when your tank has their back up against the wall. What a javelin! My gosh! Skewering racks mid-air Fisher flip. And it's going to be a set and done here with Fisher Fane's relatively dominant performance on the very start of Lijiang Tower.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, they were able to clean up on the back of it, and they got their act together in the end. But some kind of dicey decision-making, dare I say, coming from the Fiends.
Yeah.
Getsis has been a real big star for them, being able to start fights out with a pick. Their rotation has been very clean as well. I like what I'm seeing from them. On the other side, I mean, Thread has really been kind of the difference maker, keeping Florida Atlantic in to a lot of these fights where they had no business staying alive. And, well, we're going to see a change here. Gap showing us the Russian.
Okay.
I do not hate this, but bubble management. I'm going to be absolutely a hawk on these bubbles coming out.
Zarya isn't unplayable by the slightest, but as you said, Billy, Gap is going to have their work cut out for them. Bubble management here is key. You currently have none of them. Early burned on out, and the Marissa can walk right past. Oh my gosh, Adrillion, what are you doing? How are you still alive right now? Just went in completely by themselves. Nobody on Fisher was prepared for what Adrillion had in mind for fight number 1. Florida Atlantic taking the elimination on a silver platter and are likely going to turn that into a first capture.
Well, Thread going down is a big, bad thing here for Florida Atlantic.
Odos?
There you go. Yeah, Odos is on one right now.
Wow. And Odos, in particular, in the last round, has just been wiping the floor with Florida Atlantic.
Where is everybody? Yeah, what you doing?
Where
Why are you chasing
did they
Tracer?
go?
You gotta have frontline presence there. You can't just let him get on the point for free.
Ooh, yeah, hanging on for dear life. All of the bubbles are gone. You can see the pressure really placed onto the Zarya player, and they're still going to give up the points at the end of the day. Sindrillion overextends. So Florida Atlantic know that there is no front line to theoretically stop them. But what about the thorn in your side that's slowly turning into a spear? That is Odo's right now. Have to take care of them. Rax has had enough of it. Florida Atlantic have control of this objective, and this is an incredibly staggered fight from Fisher comparing to round number 1.
Okay, Gap. This
See
is
you?
actually a 10,000 Giga Chad swap here. The sustain is good. They're going to have Gravity Surge in this fight. You can go for Big Bang here, combining it with the Pulse Bomb. especially if you can catch Ruka out early, you might just be able to get a really easy fight win coming in here for them. Almost 5 ultimates ready to go here for Port Atlantic. Syndrillin forced onto the Ramatra.
And the Graviton Surge, that was not going to do much. The Suzu is already gone. You just put a pulse bomb on top, and kablooey goes Fisher Fiends. Florida Atlantic had the Wombo combo in their pocket, dished it out, and got themselves a fight win in the back.
Love it! Big bang for the win. Yeah, I mean, that was perfectly played. Even with the Suzu coming out, you're still all coupled up together. So, I mean, yeah, you get out of it. But, I mean, if you put it out there fast, I mean, gets over the Cassidy, that's a huge pick.
A huge pick on either side, but Gap is frying on this Zarya. Absolutely unleashed, picking up the Russian strong woman. And Florida Atlantic, despite a difficult start on the early parts of the map, are clicking to close it out, Billy.
Off tanks rejoice right now.
Yes.
Zarya, when you've got the support and you've got the presence, yeah, very hard to dislodge.
And for sure, they're already down. Getzis on the retake. Rax has all of the support in the world. The bubbles, the overclocks, all it takes is clicking some heads. Already got one. Doesn't need to get any more because Gap is there to melt Fisher down to size. It ended up losing the objective. It ain't gonna last long at all. Florida Atlantic, Billy, they're gonna take us the distance here on Lijiang Tower all the way to Gardens. We have to see the improvements moving forwards into this series. Florida Atlantic picking an unconventional tank, to say the least. We got to see a little bit of Zarya gameplay. If you were paying attention to the EMEA OWCS gameplay, there were some teams that decided to pull her out as more of a niche, this high level of damage, but it's not something you typically play against. Orisa doesn't have an efficient way to actually deal with a Zarya laser. Gap's bubble management has been on point so far, and Fisher are now forced to swap up their own game heading into the 3rd round of Gardens here. Dive in particular, I don't know about this one, Billy.
I don't know either. I mean, Gap can absolutely melt and drilling down. If they get anywhere, above 50%, yeah, this is going to be very, very spicy to say the least. I mean, the beam also really good tracking. So, I mean, you're going to be looking for Getsus to kind of have to manage their flight ability as well.
Fisher, I mean, they're cutting their work out for themselves, and they do manage to get Gap down, and that's going to be their primary goal. Winston is very good at sectioning out the Zarya in this scenario. Syndrillin put them in timeout. Florida Atlantic now forced to swamp.
Well, I mean, I don't hate it. I actually like the engagement ability here with the Doomfist. Power block also gets the tickle damage going on up. Ew. But it's all about being careful and having your team with you when you decide to go in.
Florida Atlantic haven't been able to fully regroup. They're over on this White Room part of the map, but at the mercy of poke from players like Getsus and Odos, who already has the duplicate on mind you. That's a difficult ultimate to build up, and it's going to use it early on onto the Doomfist. Rax, my gosh, you are a pancake against the wall there. Getsus gets so much done off of a duplicate onto a tank that typically doesn't do as much. Fisher are making the best with what they have. The Winston has been the answer.
I mean, really, I think the Echo's even better pick there.
The Echo, yeah.
Because you got the splash damage, you got the burst ability, you got the focusing beam. Obviously, everything in Echo's kit right now is exactly what Florida Atlantic doesn't want to be facing against. Now they're going to be looking for a pulse bomb to the back.
Oh!
Odos is absolutely on one.
Clean. Odos is continuing to run the lobby on the Tracer's, been getting the better of Dieterine for the majority of this map, and just getting a solo kill off the bat like that is the best way for Fisher to win these fights.
And the fact that Winston's ult fire now is so good, and you have to be able to land the shots, but I mean, it forces cooldowns out from Gap as well. Gap hasn't even come close to getting this meteor strike on.
That's where those Kitsune Rush is going to come into play. You accelerate the cooldowns. Doomfist is particularly well here. Oh, Syndrillin almost finding themselves into the drink, but no. Primal Rage leaping on up. Going to smack a couple players around in the southern temple portion. And it's just up to Fisher. exasperating these players, focusing them down one by one. That overtime starts to burn. It's really on to Gap. I was able to get the meteor strike, managed to do so with a sliver of HP. It's gonna be one heck of a stall in order for Florida Atlantic to stay alive in this fight. John Smith's sound barrier has become all the more difficult. You don't have the health to continue sustaining Chris. Sound barrier, it is in sight, but there's nobody there to help him out. Team kill, bell ringing on through, celebrating Fisher's success in map number 1.
I mean, adaptability is the name of the game here. Since Season 9 went live, after the hotfix and the patch went through, you've got to. You have to be you have to be able to rapidly identify and then adapt to what's going on. What a primal there coming from Central, and I know that Vitorian was already low, but still, the mechanics were good and the ability to get back to point, making sure that you don't get a flip there. Yeah, absolutely perfectly done there from them. So now we'll see what Florida Atlantic has up their sleeve. I mean, Control has always typically been, for the entirety of Fisher Esports, always been kind of a dicey situation. You were thinking, when I put my predictions out there, you were thinking that they might drop the spaghetti here on the Control map. They almost did until they
almost
didn't.
did.
Gardens. Gardens was pretty damn emphatic coming from them. I love the monkey coming out there. It was perfectly done. The sustain was there. You looked at Getsis. I mean, the Echo I think was even better than the Winston pick. And you saw the immediate value, and then the duplicate making pancakes of everybody. That was absolutely perfectly played.
And the reason why control points tend to be very flippy is because of the other chaos that the map type itself encourages. You're running head to head at each other, just kind of smacking one another around. These fights happen quick. There's not enough time to make adaptions, and the rounds fly right by. So that's where we can see teams that often maybe more organized start to fumble a little bit, which is what we saw from Fisher once that Zarya came out. It's like, Russian woman, I don't know what's going on right now. We don't see this. We don't practice against this. But once we moved on to Gardens, they got their heads screwed back on, took it over with the Winston Echo, and of course, Odo's dominating on the Tracer. That's the Fisher that we were expecting to see come to the field today.
I was kind of expecting, instead of going to the Doomfist, which doesn't play against a Tracer, against an Echo, I was honestly expecting Gap to go over to another optic. I was expecting either see the Sigma with the unlimited ammo there, but the Diva was the best option there. Surprised that Diva didn't come out there, because you get the aerial contest onto the Echo. Winston hates Diva with a burning passion, because she can just fly through the bubble and just lay you down. So, I mean, there's a lot there riding on that. Just the wrong pick there on Gardens, but I still like the Moxie. I like the fight that we're seeing coming out from this Florida Atlantic team. I don't count them out yet.
Oh, no. I like that teams are willing to play their own games. They're not feeling confined to this Orisa Mauga sort of meta. And I don't think that, I agree, Doomfist wasn't it in that exact scenario. Florida, they're going to have the opportunity to regroup, readjust, and have a little conversation of went down on Lijiang Tower, and make those proper adjustments as we prepare to head into our hybrid map selection, which majority of those maps can lead more towards this brawly style. I loved the Orisa that we saw, other than a couple moments on Control Center where Sumillion just sent it with no escape plan or any support. I'm like, hey, good for you. I love the confidence, but tone it down just a tad bit there.
I mean, I'm always a fan of watching an Orisa full send. You just got to have the Lucio there with you to be able to disengage if you get it too deep. I also think they tried to keep the Orisa a little bit too long there on Control Center. But as it stands, I mean, still, Night Market was just perfect Orisa play. So, yeah, you were talking about everything going more brawly. Well, we're going to the brawliest of places right now. We're going to King's Row. Now, do we see the Orisa come back out, or do we see the Ramatra? Because we did see Sandrillan pop the Ramatra. They got some value with it. They obviously know how to play the tank. So do we see that? Do we see Getsis stay on the Echo because of how much value they got there? Mobility, positioning, kill boxes, all very important here for a defensive team. I would assume that Fisher's going to be on the defense here, because that's generally the way they go. So we'll see now if they're going to keep that going on.
So we'll be Fisher on the defense, just like you said, Billy. I do wonder, since Fisher has seen that Florida Atlantic have some off-meta hero picks by chance, that might get to their own heads and how they select their composition for the defense in particular. I see no reason to switch up the Tracer. Odos has been strutting. Why would you want to change that? Absolutely no chance. The Reaper, though, can't say that one was necessarily on my bingo card for today.
Well, I mean, I think that they're expecting Brawl coming out here, and I think that they're expecting the Zarya just because of how much value they got on Control Center. So this is going to be direct. Yeah, I'm here for all of this, but Getsus and Odos basically now, as long as Getsus is as accurate as they were on the Echo, Vampire Healing is going to keep them alive. It will take a lot of the strain off of their support line. Florida Atlantic, though, Datorian and Rax have kind of swapped positions here. We're seeing now the Datorian Sojourn and the Rax Tracer. Not sure how I feel about this.
I don't think that Rax was doing bad on the Sojourn at all, and they're not even to stick with it. They get one look at what Fisher are doing, they turn it around, and it is our good old Amalgamate making an appearance on the field, mirroring the same DPS. Billy, this screams Sandrillion, go back home. You are about to get blown up. What do you even do as a Winston here? You cannot go anywhere near this team. You must be scared of what they're capable of. It's just though, Wraith Form force out. This team is pretty far back. They've wrapped around to where the attackers are usually holding right now. So Florida Atlantic have free control of the objectives, and Drillian decides to leap on in and somehow manage to segment Thread off through the meanwhile. Gap got stuck on the telephone booth, couldn't save their support, and that one tick, Billy, is all that they're going to be walking away with for now. Gap is doing their best to kind of make this an even battle with how quickly Fisher's Bane's cooldowns are coming back online and the minimal support Gap has. He should not be doing this!
No, they shouldn't be. And I mean, especially with the Cardiac Overdrive, Gap is using it kind of weird because you want to use that in conjunction with Datorian. It increases the Vampire lifesteal for both of them. So, I mean, they need to get that coordination down. They should be winning these fights easily.
There is no reason really to be losing. There's no reason Sandrillia should be existing. The Kitsune Rush is going to help. Additional support towards the Winston, hopefully building up to a Kitsune Rush.
Wow.
Gets us going in. The spinning Blossom stun didn't come through fast enough. Fisher have planned these fights out. Their re-engages so well. Their ultimate advantage is wins in the fight.
Getsus got to that Blossom way faster than I ever expected. I swear they were sitting on like 60%, and then all of a sudden it was Blossom and die. But now it's going to be a 4 ultimate fight at least for Florida Atlantic here, and maybe a late Blossom if they need it. Be very careful how you use this.
I'm more worried about the cage fight, honestly. Florida Atlantic, that's one thing that Fisher, there's nothing that they can do about it. And with John Smith going down, there's no sound barrier to necessarily stop that. Florida Atlantic, this is their fight to win. Something would have to go seriously wrong in order for them not to come back with a contest. Fisher aren't even putting themselves on the objective themselves, knowing that there is minimal support, hoping their Lucio can get back in time. That unless you want a solo ultimate just for the Winston, you're asking a lot. The bare minimum, it forces out the cage fight. Issue is, you're going to lose the point, and now you're at a sound barrier deficit.
Oh, come on. Why 3 ultimates into that? Why? You did not need to pop the Blossom there. You had cage fight. You had Kitsune Rush out. Oh, no. That was bad juju there. They may have just shot themselves in the foot as we approach, going now through the streets. Swap once again, Gap over. Yeah, Gap's over to the Zarya. So they're expecting this change, okay? Because the streets play differently than First Point, obviously. Sandrilla's going to have a very rude awakening coming up very shortly.
Expecting the Zarya, especially with the Reaper. If we go back to our OG days of Reinhardt Zarya, Reaper has now said Reinhardt, but you don't have bubbles for your team is the problem. Oda is still frying through any player they can manage to lock on down, and Florida Atlantic didn't get anywhere too far because Odos just was there.
Yeah, Odo exists, and Odos is having a wonderful day. Thank you very much. I mean, the Pulse Bomb, just a little flick over onto Chris there. Now you still have sound barrier supremacy here, but I think that you've got to hold it for this gets Blossom coming up. Rax needs to get something done on this Tracer. I have not seen very much out of them on the Tracer.
No, Rax has just been fighting a losing battle. But hey, you mentioned, you call him out, you're like, all right, Jilly, I got you. Let me show you. Otis calls lag. Well, hell, doesn't matter. You are as good as dead, my friend. Florida Atlantic support ultimates on the board. John Smith not having that sound barrier is going to come back to bite Fisher at the end of the day, at the end of the fight. Getting staggered here would be devastating.
Well, get ready for some devastation because I think they're going to find the picture coming through.
What?
Oh, this comes back, though.
That's not the pick that we are expecting to see within the kill feed. Rax shut down immediately. Autos apparently took that one personally, and it's been so long, nobody on Fisher died, and Cendrillion is already back to the fight. Gets us as another Death Blossom in tow, and we're right back to where we started, Billy.
I mean, I would say that Thread is probably going to put the rush out here as soon as possible. Yo, never mind, Gets has got it done! Whoa!
Doing a little dance of death through the streets of Kings Row, cleaning house. Florida Atlantic, they had 4 ults, Billy. They didn't even have a chance to use them.
Nope, you didn't. that was perfectly done by Gets. Holy cow, I didn't even see their silhouette anywhere. And now look at this. There's a hunting party up top.
Ooh. They're playing the high guard. There's no way that they're going to expect this going in. Cendrillion has the ultimate. You chuck the pulse bomb on top of it. The Suzu zoning the players out of the way. Florida Atlantic, though, this is their chance to strike back, or at least it should have been. Detron gets stuck down mid-ultimate. Fisher have taken the fire away from Florida Atlantic. A fight that they should have won, Bailey, shut down by a nice team play.
And now there's sound barrier online. John Smith says, ha,
Oh,
ha, ha. Your graph is going to be null and void. You've also got to consider rush as well. They are smelling blood in the water. Tiny, I mean, Big Bang's on the board. Notorian going over to the Sojourn. I am very worried for Florida Atlantic here.
The graph pulse has to be huge. You can't let John Smith get the sound barrier off. Florida Atlantic are climbing a mountain right now. Sooning Rush at their front and at their back. Gap, it's your turn to shine. The Graviton Surge being unleashed. Rax pulse bomb on top of it is gonna get 3, but they don't get the rest. The sound barrier was too little too late. You can see John Smith, the shock on his face as Fisher, they're gonna crumble.
Oh, it says by Lucio.
Chat.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness, Fisher
They know,
Fiends.
too.
Yeah, you just got rolled there. There's no other way to put it. You just got rolled with the wombo combo once again.
Oh, John Smith was in the back line. You wanted your Lucio in the fight. Well, now that John Smith kind of gave that one to Florida Atlantic, one more chance for Fisher to come back. Odos now on the Widowmaker, but there's no sound barrier on your side. Wonder what happened to that one. Florida Atlantic wanting to push all the way through this objective. The resources are exhausted, but so are the health bars of their defensive opponents. 90 seconds to complete their way through a Kings Row.
I mean, still, it's impressive that with how many fights they've lost, that they have made it this far. So now we're gonna look. I mean, Gap likes Zarya, and I like Gap's Zarya. So pause has come through. Apparently, the lag has gotten too much here for Odos, even though they almost have sites online. But man, Florida Atlantic, I mean, they got absolutely snarled around Bookstore, and they just had nowhere to turn. I mean, Getsus pops out and says, "Hi, I exist." Cendrillion with that Terra Surge was absolutely perfect. Once again, it was another Thread Suzu, by the way, that saved everybody's life there. So, I mean, the teams are playing good.
Yeah.
There's just been some, I don't know if it's necessarily Florida Atlantic playing bad, as Fisher Fiends are playing like lights out and kind of jump scare Overwatch right now, where Getsus comes out of the shadows literally and just says, I press Q, you die.
Fisher's creativity, though, is winning them fights. I mean, especially that one play that you were just talking about where you had the 3 players sitting up in that tunnel by the initial choke on second point to just kind of drop behind, knowing that they were an ultimate disadvantage, and they still managed to close it out. At the same time, though, Billy, with great genius comes great misfortune. The times that they have lost fights have been because of their own downfall, usually a blaring error on one individual. And not the same person, but it's not necessarily... That was one time. If it happens again, maybe we'll bring it back up. But to be fair, Florida Atlantic are playing very consistently. I think it's a good thing to point out. Whereas Fisher are either we're all in, we are the best team in the lobby, or we made a big oopsies.
Big oopsies. I do that a lot in my ranked games. I can tell you that. I mean, honestly. I think creativity can go so far. I really did like the hunting party though. Having both your supports with your Reaper, I mean that's almost unkillable. and the fact that they were able to kind of live through that and kind of turn the ultimate advantage into their own favor. I do like that. I like that. And it's once again, this is what season 9 has done to everybody. It makes you explore so much further. We're talking like theoretical Overwatch science here. Like this is Overwatch Physics 401. Like this is a senior level class, and these players are absolutely acing it right now. I think that consistency. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Florida Atlantic are playing just fine. And when things go bad for Fisher Freaks or Fiends, when they push that envelope too far, that's when we see some issues happen. Also, sometimes Q just does exist, and sometimes just a press of a Q button can change your fortunes beautifully. Thread is really, really impressing me right now. I mean, was like on 5 health, decided, you know what? You're going to have the rush here just to make sure that our cooldowns are sped up, to see if you guys can stay alive long enough. The Suzu usage has been good all day. So, and then Gap is showing us a nice repertoire of tank heroes here for the moment. I mean, immediately, as soon as they got point A, the swap immediately came through. Yeah. And it's a beautiful chess match. It's a beautiful game for a reason. It's why we love it.
Yeah. And it's less of we had concerns about adaption, especially on Florida Atlantic side after map number 1, the whole Doomfist fiasco. But that's clearly been ironed out for Kings Row. This is the plan that they have set in place. They're leaning into the Zarya pick, understanding how much of an asset that is to their general success. I mean, their tanks have been playing out of their mind in this map and the last, and I just wish for their sake that Zarya was even stronger than she already was. This very well could be one of the top teams out there, but there's just some characters that can make Zarya slightly more difficult to play and less viable in certain situations, which once again wraps us back around to this consistency factor, where Florida Atlantic are great at entering into fights, but coming out of them, it's either a hit or miss. It's either Fisher makes a mistake or Fisher is the better team in that one. There aren't these huge flashes of brilliance otherwise, but we've seen so far, Billy, we know that they're capable of them.
I mean, if you look at the rank here, so we're sitting around Masters 4, Masters 3. That's the general consensus of what the lobby's sitting at right now. Yeah. So, I mean, there's still room to grow. I'm not hating what I'm saying out of Florida Atlantic. But once again, and I'll bring us back to the opening, is that there is this mammoth esports engine at Fisher that they have that there's got to be a trickle-down effect for these players as they get to play with them. So, well, that will do it. Our pause is gone bye-bye. There is, in fact, a Death Blossom online here. Death Blossom versus Overclock. I'm going to take Dutorian here. I'm going to give them, hopefully, a little bit of blessing.
Yeah, they're gonna need it. Getsis has found incredible success with the Death Blossom thus far. It's really a matter of them actually working through Florida Atlantic's backlines, catching them off guard. But Trillion incredibly far up. All of the cooldowns burn. Florida Atlantic is their chance to escape from this corner they've been corralled into. Getsis has the Blossom. They have to know it, forcing the Reaper away. Finally, sure. The problem is here, Florida Atlantic, they haven't been pushing the payload this whole time. Billy, this is final fight territory we're approaching.
I mean, you're gonna have to wait for Javelin Spin to come out before you can let your Rapid Surge go out, but you need to use that as your leverage. Go!
There it is. Geddes had enough of the little bug buzzing around their ear, pulled out the ultimate fly swatter, and is going to continue to walk forward. Florida Atlantic, they're in desperation mode to move forwards. All the tools that they had are coming out. But too little, too late. No health, no support to come through. Fisher managed to stay on top of it, even with some last-second squaps. Geddes in particular shining through on the Reaper.
I mean, this is fantastic for Fisher. I mean, they had everything to kind of play against. I think the oversight that came out from Odos probably ruined the well-laid plans that Florida Atlantic had about getting around first corner there in the Foundry. The fact that they were not going to be able to path the way that they wanted to, and kind of get people in key positions, let that Graviton surge out, and pop the overclock on the back, or pop the rush to get the maximum value out of it. I mean, Dutorian had the overcall, but once the sights came up, I think that was, we usually say it's a throwaway ult. Not that time, because it gave you so much vision, so much information that Fisher Fiends were absolutely able to kind of just regress back. You saw Getsis get a little happy, and then have to wraith out, but still, they knew where everybody was at. So, I mean, that was well played. There's a win condition now to put themselves on match point, semifinal point as it stands. We are in the playoffs once again here in the ECAC. Gap's going to continue with the Zarya. I don't hate it, but I mean, Rax and Dotori, they're going to have to step it up here. They're going to have to play very much in concert with Gap, not get too far forward. I think Dotori needs to take kind of a backseat and get positioning here on high ground and make life hard for the backline of Fisher Fiends.
More often than not, it's been Odos to win out these Tracer duels, or, well, not even necessarily duels. The Tracer head-on has been mainly going to Odos, but there is no Tracer from Fisher. Soldier and Cassidy, two heroes you typically do not see in the same lineup. Fisher, they're gonna pull it out with a Winston, of all things. Minimal dive support. They're like trying to distract with the Winston and have additional pressure from range, and even that, they still grab Chris, and Julian's already off to their next target, trying to pancake them. There's only so much that the Zarya can do when their team is as split as it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect dive there, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact they get the Lucio out. Oh, no. Yeah, this should be first point going to Fisher Fiends easily, unless you see some kind of big pick come from Victorian or from Thread. Well, there goes Thread. There goes everybody.
Unconventional? Yes. But does it work? Absolutely. And Zendrillion, obviously the main spearhead of that, separating these players well, forcing them into Getsis and Odo's sightlines. That's just going to force Florida Atlantic to swap their game plan once again. The Zarya no longer the move.
Go to Diva, you cowards! Go to Diva! It deals with the projectiles coming in. It deals with the grenade. It deals with the monkey. And it gives you high ground control and high ground contest as well. Yay. John Smith, we are not going to watch your PO.
John Smith, what a character this guy is, with the most typical name that you could possibly have in the country, arguably. Fisher right now. Ooh. They're still moving up. I do worry for Florida Atlantic. You're not playing a range game. There's no realistic chance of contesting Odos or Getsis, and it's just more free space for Centurion to kind of just push up in. And Fisher, they're fighting in the third objective for the Pale. It's barely halfway through second.
Well, I mean, Primal is beautiful for that. Yes, here is our... There you go. And the eyes are still in there. I forgot that the eyes were still in there. Overclock should win them the fight and win them the second point.
Yeah. Fisher are on a roll right now. There's very little that Florida Atlantic has done to show that they can stop this. Kitsune rush, their only chance of turning it around. Get both damage ultimates available for the Fisher Fiends. It zones them off, it forces cooldowns, and actually ends up being the end of Centrillion. Overstayed their welcome, and Florida Atlantic showed that they once more can capitalize on the mistakes of their opponents.
I mean, I like it. They're working it now, and they're going to have an annihilation for their troubles. Tutorial. I hate you, Ruka.
Oh, John Smith. My guy. Of course, C9 in our watch. Not today, Billy. Not today.
No. No, it has been a long time since I have seen an egregious C9. Close, yes. You were close, but not quite.
John Smith. I think that's gonna be their only goal from now on. Is I've been pushing the payload this far. We're gonna win it because of me pushing the payload. That's the whole mentality I'm getting out of Fisher. But you do have a sound barrier to work with, and nothing really to stop the overclock. Odos is posting up on the high ground. It's just chucking shot after shot into Gap. Annihilation out, needing the armor refresh to stay on their feet, and Fisher finally pulled the trigger of their own. The sound barrier saving their team, where Odos sliding their way back to the safety of their supports. Fisher, though, waiting for the cooldowns to come back online and more of this reset period before it just takes one shot to shut it all down. Odos with a second on the Sojourn, but taking up the Tracer, but clearly, incredibly.
Good to see you. Hey.
That was dirty. There's no other way to put it. Just shy of 4 minutes to get, halfway through. Gap back over to the Zarya. You've got Conceded Rush here for Florida Atlantic. They're going to have to find their positioning here and make it stick. And I'll tell you what, Getsus is back onto this Reaper. I'm terrified for this upcoming fight.
As you should be, Reaper, bringer of death in the hands of Getsus. Oh, you have a massacre on the way. Fisher at the golden box of victory in sight. The rush gonna force them back slightly. Syndrillion needs the extra cooldowns and the health to push forward, but losing Gap, there's no fear.
No.
And going forward, but in some death for Getsus, and the massacre has happened to Billy. Fisher fades one away to take themselves up to match point.
Oh, Tiny, that's why I was scared. Because they had the Terra Surge and the Rush. And the Blossom! It gets us, yeah. You earned that one. Holy cow, you got it done.
Hey, we called the massacre, and Getsus delivered. This isn't even the final play. This shows how good this guy is on the Reaper, a character who typically is known for low skill expression, and it's hard to make these big flashy plays on. Clearly, we just haven't seen Getsus pull him out.
I mean, we've had one jump scare where the Phantom Blossom that came out of nowhere. I mean, that's not normal. Somebody check him PC.
Say normal.
My favorite character is that Reaper guy. Getsus is making me a believer once again in the Reaper guy. But I mean, that's now 2-0 to the Fiends of Fisher Esports. And once again, Florida Atlantic are not playing bad.
No.
But the flashes of brilliance that are coming from the Fiends right now, whoo, when they're on, I'm good.
Are Fisher Fiends the definition of consistency? Absolutely not. But when they're on and things are starting to cook, ooh, we have got a feast on the way. And that's really what that second attack turned into. Fisher were pushed up so far, we barely saw any of the street phase. It was just a sightseeing tour, rather, for John Smith on the payload. The other 4 members of Fisher were straight up in Florida Atlantic spaces, denying them any room to be able to work. And you have to be scared. That's a message that you're sending being on match point, especially here, Billy.
The fact that it was just Ruka, your Kiriko, keeping the other 3 members alive while John Smith is back there posing on the cart, asking for the POV, having a snack, having a wonderful stroll through the streets of London. Yeah, that's a statement and a half. And I mean, the rest of the division better open their eyes to this, because this is looking like we might have a Freaks versus Fiends semifinal coming down the line.
Well, the way that this is going, it just literally depends on Fisher Freaks coming on back. But also, same goes for Florida Atlantic. Down on match points, needs something to go their way. And they'll have the map pick on their end to be able to do it. It is Circuit Royale. Now, Billy, if there's any map in the game of Overwatch that can force a meta, it's this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Monaco 5, very highly favored here, obviously. Even with the patch that came through, even with Season 9 coming up, I still see it all across all the competitions. You got the Sigma, you're going to have a sniper or 2, depending on how you like to play it. Then Baptiste Zen, that's the Monaco 5. So will we get a chance to see Hanzo Widowmaker? I hope so. I know that Odos showed a very good Widowmaker We'll see how this goes down. You're fighting for your tournament life here, though. If you are Florida Atlantic University, you don't want to get swept here. I mean, you had a good result earlier in the year against this Fisher Fiends team. So now, is this a result of season 9, Tiny? Is it a result of Amalga not being able to exist? Or is this just Fisher Fiends really leveling up when it counts the most?
It honestly could be a multitude of things. As you said, when Florida Atlantic last played Fisher, it was when we were in this hard lock Malga or you lose kind of situation, right? So Florida Atlantic now in a much different scenario. Fisher Fiends can strut their stuff much more. These characters have a much higher skill ceiling, you could argue, in many ways. But on the defense, instead, we're looking at only one sniper, Odos, sticking to the Widowmaker, but against this Genji, a hero that we haven't really seen too much of his late.
No, I mean, Genji is very niche. It's very map dependent. You've got escapability. You're looking for dash resets to go back into the fight and continue to fight. Also, deflect is going to be something that's going to be very big here, especially with Gap, with the hyperspheres. When you get under some duress there, you're keeping alive. And Rex says, bye-bye, Odos.
Okay. See, I have a thing with Hanzo that it's either, hey, it's all skill, or it's B, we're chucking tree trunks down mid, watch out, you're about to get hit. And either way, the Widowmaker is dead. Zetarine can push up as free as he wants, and Fisher Fates had to book it for the hills.
I mean, that's a great pick. It's the best pick, obviously.
Wait, what?
Going up
Getsus?
against what the defenses has. Yeah. Getsus is still behind.
Wait, why did you show yourself? I'm so confused. You're not on Reaper anymore. This isn't gonna end well for you, especially with Odos down again. This guy is not having it on the Widowmaker today. Another headshot from Rax. Rax, the Hanzo mate? I'm sorry. Where was this before? This is what the team that Florida Atlantic have been wanting to show us all along. Billy, what am I watching right now? What?
Ma'am!
Again?
Ma'am! What? Okay.
Okay.
Where the heck was this aim the past 2 maps? Hello?
Not on Widowmaker, apparently. I mean, Zetarine is rocking it. They are 3-0 for Widowmaker duels against Odos, and that's how long it took Odos to realize, all right, this ain't working. I'm getting on the Sojourn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, better kit going in here now. Getsus hasn't even gotten a blade. I mean, Getsus basically throwing right now. Hello? 39% through a 1.5. Hello? Yeah,
Getsus is being a little silly. I mean, that should not get anybody. Odos is dead again. Have we seen this guy anywhere in the kill feed other than on the losing side? Absolutely not. It's been the Rack show all map long. It's not done yet. What?
Oh, no, we're not done. Well, we played, we ballin', we having fun here.
Surely we get off the Genji.
Probably not.
No. We're just gonna
I
give
mean,
him points.
60% now, so I mean, at least, you know, once we get to the hotel here, then we'll see the real Genji come out here.
Yeah, but you gotta hold for almost 6 minutes right now. Florida Atlantic barely saw a contest through those first 2 points. Now your character's a valid, Fisher. You better be able to anchor down and prove it, because this is not looking so hot. Florida Atlantic are absolutely dominating right now.
Yeah. I mean, either they're, like, kind of just laid back right now and just waiting for it to come through. I mean, they're going to have 5 ultimates coming into the fight, but, I mean, Rax has everything in their sights right now. I'd love some stats. I need some stats for this guy.
I need to see the true damage of what Rax has been able to accomplish. Fisher finally had some ultimates online, but no Genji aboard that train. They're not winning these fights cleanly. In fact, they may not win it at all. Rax is still getting final blows. This has to be some sort of deadlift right now.
I mean, this has got to be a flooded deadlift if I've ever seen one. I mean, yeah, this just the amount of kills alone. I mean, they've got the headshots. They've got the mobility. They've even gotten a Dragon Strike kill. That is how good they're playing right now. Blade will be up here for Getsus. I hope it's good for how long you have stayed on this hero. I'm expecting 5. If you don't get 5, you're dead.
All right, well, hey, we got 1. Can you get any more? All right, that's 2, that's 3. All right, Getsus, we see you. Doing nothing with the Genji before. It's all for this highlight reel moment.
Okay, I got what I wanted. Now get off the damn hero.
Guess
Get
I
off
did my job.
Oh my word.
I love this guy.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Either I'm gonna have a stroke from sticking with the Genji, because now's the time to switch.
Please.
But we're gonna stick with it.
Oh my. It's just, what words do we have left for what Fisher is cooking right now? I mean, Rax is still in the kitchen. Dragon Strike out for the second time today. It zones the players, forcing the Transcendence. Ruka can help keep their team alive and give Fisher that second life needed to overwhelm Florida Atlantic.
I mean, okay, so Transcendence comes out maybe a little early. Because, I mean, they have to know that there's a Gravitic Flux coming up online. We're going to play Sneaky Hideaway here.
Okay.
Odos and
I wonder what the conversation is right now.
I don't know, but thank you to our wonderful observing team getting it done in the back. They're going on the backside.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Getsus got something! It worked! Getsus did something, and they're gonna keep doing something. The flank and the genius from Fisher Fanes back online. This is what made them win back in King's Row, and hey, they're not stopping here.
No, we're playing Hideaway again. Getsus
boy.
is just having fun.
Taking Ninja to a whole new level.
The eyes. Thank you, Professor Layton Cold Scoop,
Oh
for
no!
that.
Oh no!
It's done.
You can't do the same thing so many times and expect Florida Atlantic not to pick up on it, Getsus. That's on you, my friend. John Smith now, the one that has to recover. The Gravitic Flux did most of the damage. The Baptiste back for the remainder of the cleanup. We're still on the Genji, mind you. Fisher Fanes have that quick return online and managed to burn well over half of the original timing Florida Atlantic walked into point 3 with.
Almost. What? Okay, Getsus.
Okay.
Yeah. You got what you deserve there. I mean, he gets the kill on Chris, which was the priority pick there for them. But yeah, not so much. Yeah, not so much. But I mean, they have actually whittled up, 2/3. I mean, they almost had 6 minutes coming into the hotel.
Yeah.
And we're looking scary, and there's an amp matrix on the high ground.
Yeah, they're not really gonna bother peeking that at all. Rax has also cooled down a little bit. Hasn't had these larger off angles to take to actually nail some of these arrows where it matters. So Florida Atlantic and haven't gotten control of this high ground yet. Finally, they do burn through Cendrillion. Wonderful Amp Matrix thread. Being this consistent support player as ever gets us in a heap of trouble. Will they live? 25 HP. All right, you're gonna sneak away. You need a big blade as Florida Atlantic got this payload on a roll once again. Instead, it's Rax in trouble down to 5 HP. These players, they're so split right now between contesting the high ground and the importance of the payload.
I'm looking for Ruka. Ruka's obviously holding it for.
Oh
my God, Odos!
Clean, and that's all they needed. You get the Baptiste down. Guess doesn't even need a blade to go chop. Goodbye, Florida Atlantic. They're gonna have one more fight to pull together up in a near 6-minute time bank.
I mean, they went into sicko mode there. That's basically what happened. Otis back over to the Widowmaker here, so we're looking for just, pick here and there. Cendrillion will get another Flux online here in the last 20 seconds. Ruka's still holding on to this Transcendence, not willing to let go of it yet.
No. And you have to be knowing that either the Dragon Strike or this Overclock to come in, or maybe you can even support Getsus through this Dragon Blade. Not gonna manage to do anything though. The Transcendence is through. Arrow to the dome. Goodbye, Genji. The rest of Fisher have managed to sustain long enough. Cendrillion had their Gravitic Flux. There's minimal health on board. Florida Atlantic relying on Gap to station himself on the payload and maybe get players back in time. Get the spawns are further. Odos is back on the Widowmaker. You got nothing else left to fuel the race car on forwards. The payload shall halt in the hotel, setting the bar pretty dang high.
I mean, considering how the first 2.5 points went, we should not be sitting here with a 2 on the screen. We should be talking about how Fisher is going to be working against a time bank. However, that is not what happened.
No.
They turned their monitors back on or something. I'm not sure. Other than it is extremely hard to push inside of hotel, and it just played a little bit more into what they were bringing.
That's incredible.
Oh gosh, I forgot it. It almost looks like Herbie. You're probably
Herbie.
you are
I don't
definitely
know
too
Herbie.
young to know that.
I was thinking
Herbie,
like cars.
yeah, I mean Herbie was a Volkswagen Beetle. And
yeah, that's an old car.
He was alive. So I just thought Herbie the love bug there. That's awesome. Anyways, getting back to this. Florida Atlantic. I mean, the full head of steam. Rax was on one. I'd love to know what they're sitting at as far as their damage. I have no idea. It's got to be at least 10,000, at least, just in that push, with all the headshots. So, I mean, you know, this is your tournament here, Florida Atlantic. You've got to hold them. And Odos is going to play the well, no, they're not going to play the dishonest character.
Okay.
They're going to go ahead and play the Widowmaker. Okay, I'm here for it.
Okay. Hoping for a better round 2 against Teetering. It didn't go so well. Last time that came around, 3-0 for the Florida Atlantic Sniper in their previous engagement. So Fisher Fanes waiting on Odos, managing to get these angles online. But it does help with Geddes being on the Genji in this situation to contest the high ground, to contest the snipers, and give Odos some breathing room. Rax is down. You don't have to worry about some random RNG. And that's just the Genji for the clean out. Now this is where this composition can succeed.
Yep. And now you're going to look for a dash reset, especially if they can get a kill on the back of one of these and really take the Baptiste down. That's what you're looking for right here. Gets us in the back.
I guess it's going to manage to live, but look how far Fisher are pushing up. They're forcing Florida Atlantic to basically a one-fight scenario where they do touch with double sniper walking into the Sigma, even with just the Genji to support it. That's going to be a tough battle, especially with Onos threading the needle. Grapple shot too, that one may not land. Damage has been done. Fisher waltzing their way on through this first objective. Ruka going ham with that Discord.
I mean, they're just having fun right now.
Yeah.
This is easy mode for them now, and especially on the attack. Genji gets a lot more value. So I mean, you're seeing Getsus getting into the back line, being able to catch rotations around. Odos is still hitting Odos things. But the big kicker here is Ruka getting a lot done. I'm sorry, excuse me, Rax. I'm sorry that I doubted your name. I will put my name out. Yeah, I'm sorry. I doubted you. I'm sorry.
Rax slowly coming back to life in the early forms. They got Florida Atlantic all the way through these first 3 objectives in a speed run. I'm here for it. Forces the Transcendence, but it doesn't even save him. Oh, that is a tragedy striking for the Fisher Fiends. Rax playing some good old target practice right now. Fisher are going to have to back off, hopefully not staggering themselves with their tank returns.
Yeah, I mean, 417 on the clock. The big problem here is that Gap has this Flux, and
yeah, the Gap Flux, it will be mirrored by Cendrillion, but as you said, no Transcendence. The Immortality field is gonna be late, so the support that is coming through is rather limited. You could say the same thing though. Gets his Dragon Blade, they're not even afraid of it. Wow, no lamp, not even a kick to the face. They all just walk away knowing you're essentially waving around a wet noodle.
Hey, Chris didn't even feel threatened enough to pop the Flux or pop the Transcendence there. So I mean, you're here for it. You're feeling it.
Yeah.
This could very well be a stall here around the chicane corner. Both DPS ultimates ready to go. Cendrillion does have this Flux, so there's some stuff to work with.
Yeah, but it's not going to get much if Chris is just sitting on a Transcendence unless you're able to do either an incredible timing thing, Otis rips your head off, or you lose John Smith and you do none of the above. Ideally, if Cendrillion still commits this Flux, you would be absolutely crazy. Fisher, better off resetting and taking advantage of the time bank they have.
Can I see the Sombra now? I'd like.
Want the Sombra?
How did you get Rax? How did you die?
Huh.
What the? Okay. Well, still. Flux online, Dragon Strike online. Don't get it nom-dommed up. Especially with the googly eyes right now. That'd be even funnier.
The Dragon Strike with the googly eyes. It's the only time I would play Hanzo, just to see the big old eyeballs looking at you. It's such a joke. To die to something like that. Oh, man. It's not a joke, though. Gravitic Flux. We've been talking about it forever. Finally comes out, but as predicted, you have the Transcendence into play. Everyone else is healthy to move on with their lives. Forcing all the major cooldowns, though, so Fisher are able to push up around this hill, fighting on more even territory. The most devastating part of the objective is complete, and with Gap going down, there's nothing stopping the reign of Geddes, the ninja silence for too long. Finally back in the kill feed. It's gonna have to be a Florida Atlantic hold in the hotel to keep their playoff chances alive.
And it's only 60 meters, so I mean, it's like, two-thirds of the way? Yeah, about two-thirds of the way through. You're gonna have both support ultimates coming in here, so Gap's Flux is not gonna be very impactful. Thread, though, kind of been quiet here in map number 3. Maybe a good window will kind of liven the spirits. Only 3 minutes to defend here, so they need to get some bodies on the point, though.
Yeah, Fisher getting all of this free space, and this is an issue. It's important to take the high ground, yeah, but is high ground gonna matter if the game just ends because you're not contesting the payload? That's the question we need to be asking. Fisher and Florida. Re-ultimates a piece. Somebody's gotta get there. Somebody's get there. Okay. Gap did drop down. Gravitic Flux online. The Ant Matrix zones a lot of these players out yet. They're so split. Autos is left all by themselves. Zitterine taking a beating. Florida Atlantic, they didn't know whether to stand on top or down below. And in the end, it came back to bite them. Fisher Fiends will be matching up against their sister team in the semifinals.
I mean, wow. They just turned another gear and just said, we're going to go ahead and win now. Thanks for playing. That's a big drop spaghetti there, though, from Florida Atlantic trying to hold the high ground there. Absolutely. You gave up basically 50 meters for free inside the hotel while you were trying for the perfect fight. And, yeah, it ends up getting the better of them. And, well, we'll have to say goodbye to Florida Atlantic here for this year's ECAC playoffs. And as you said, it's going to be the Freaks versus the Fiends. And, Civil War is coming.
It's even better that they have to play from the same facility, too. So it's just like facing off against each other in a playoff match while you're in the same room. It's kind of crazy, especially when you all know each other. Fisher Fiends, despite being rank-wise the lower level team with lesser experience, still showed some great signs, flashes of brilliance, as we've been calling them all day long, and the creativity, the sparks of genius, love it. You don't really catch that many other places. They've taken advantage of the collegiate Overwatch scene to push the limits of what Overwatch can be in a team style, and have given us some great moments and some quite comical ones as well.
Okay, well, I mean, this has been good. This has been good. It's a good setup for them. But you know what? It's the end of the night for us, my friend. It is the end of the night for us. We don't have anything else coming up after this, but there is more coming up down the line. There will be ECAC League of Legends, the Super Elite Grand Finals, Weber State University out of Utah, going up against Brooklyn College with Orbital and RMC on the cast. That will be on Friday, so no broadcast tomorrow, so make sure you guys come back here and watch that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really starting to get into League of Legends, too. It's so much fun to watch, but that's pretty much everything here, Tiny. Anything left to say?
Hey, keep an eye out on these teams as they continue their playoff journey. Many esports still to come here in the collegiate side of the ECAC. Pleasure working with you, Chef Billy. As always, shout out to Leighton Scoots, and of course, Leighton Scoots today. No weekend. So, yeah, Leighton Scoots behind the scenes for making us all look pretty up here. And we will go ahead and see you guys on Friday for the League of Legends Grand Finals.